Howdy, Halo fans. Welcome to another episode of the Heady Halo Hot Take Hoedown. I am Vince, the Angels Cowboy. With me, as always, the Lone Star Halo himself, Fernando. Oh, a little glitch right there, but don't worry, we're back. Yes, I'm still here. And today's hot take, we are going to talk about a certain player who might be a future Angel with the draft coming up this weekend. Who's it going to be? We'll find out coming right up after this.
Texas plains, hot takes flying right off the range. Lone Star Halo Cowboy Vince, calling it bold, never on the fence. Hold down time, turn it up loud. Hot takes are ringing, drawing a crowd. No matter how wild, no matter how strange, ain't no limit on the takes we say.
Your mic.
Hey, howdy, hey, and welcome to this week's episode of the Halo Hot Take Hoedown. It's been a catastrophe so far on my end, but we are here to talk Angels baseball. We are here to talk draft, and Vince, I think it's fair to say that All-Star Week's upon us. When the listeners are listening or watching this, it's going to be Friday, so today's the day of the Ken Griffey Jr. High School Classic. On Saturday, you got the Futures game and the Celebrity Softball game. That's always a good time. On Sunday, you have the draft, which, as you mentioned at the top, will be today's topic. Monday, of course, you got the Home Run Derby. Tuesday, you have the All-Star game. Vince, are you a fan of the All-Star game festivities and everything that comes with it?
I always look forward to it every single year because of the atmosphere and the opportunity of other cities to be close to baseball in a fun way, because there are some teams out there who are unfortunate to experience the playoffs. And the thing about the All-Star game, it kind of does feel like a playoff. It's honestly like the Super Bowl of MLB, because it's a neutral site, number one. You know, you look at the big game in the NFL, it rotates every single year where the location is going to be of the game. Same thing with the MLB All-Star game. So this gives cities an opportunity to basically experience what baseball is like in the summertime. And the good time is that in the summer, baseball is the only sport. So it makes sense why we have the All-Star game. So people have that attention and they're not focusing on anything else unless you're in a football territory, as you could say, or in a basketball territory. Maybe it's a little bit different. But for baseball's aspect, I enjoy the All-Star game. I've always enjoyed the All-Star game, watching it. Especially in the summertime, after just wake up in the morning, I didn't have school, and it's like, hey, the All-Star game's today, the Home Run Derby's today. And I love this so much that during Home Run Derbies, I would actually mimic the hitters during the Home Run Derby. And who didn't? I mean, I think every kid that played baseball experienced that. And obviously, unbiased but biased, I think the best Home Run Derby we ever saw was 2007 with Vladdy Guerrero Sr. in AT&T Park to win that year, to be the first, or actually second Angel to win the Home Run Derby. And then Garrett Anderson in 2003, you got to give him credit to that, because that was a fun Home Run Derby for sure, because Albert Pujols came close. He was just one swing away from tying it, and he was actually 5 feet away from tying it, and Garrett walked away with it. And not only that, he also got the All-Star Game MVP. So I think he's the only guy, if I'm not mistaken, to achieve that accomplishment. And if he is, great. We got credit for something.
Feather in the cap.
Exactly. So I enjoyed it.
In Chicago, Comiskey?
Yeah, that was at New Comiskey, which is now Guarantee Rate, whatever you want to call it. So the many names field, basically.
Yeah, people in Chicago still call it Comiskey. So
I'd rather call it New Comiskey. It's just, I don't honestly, side note, I don't like having sponsors and naming rights to stadiums because it just ruins like the feel. As a fellow Broncos fan, you and I, like Invesco Field at Mile High, Sports Authority Field at Mile High, and then Empower Field at Mile High. I love Mile High Stadium. That just flows better and it just rolls off the tongue better. And honestly, when you hear that name, you feel intimidated as an opposing player. Like, dang, we got to play at Mile High because the altitude is not our friend, but the altitude is their friend for sure. And the Broncos have a good advantage of that. Same thing with baseball. I mean, when you hear Yankee Stadium, Dodger Stadium, Wrigley Field, Fenway Park, that sounds intimidating as an opposing player coming in. I just have to say that.
No. I agree with you. There's some fields where it just kind of works. See, but I just hate it when they, so it's a sponsorship name. It's that for 20 years. And then, for instance, Minute Maid Park, right? People called it the Juice Box. And then all of a sudden, what is it now? Daikin Park? That's not its name. It's Minute Maid. You know what I mean? Imagine if San Diego wasn't Petco Park anymore. What? You know what I mean? It's like when Qualcomm Stadium, people either call it the Q or the Murph still. So, that's a topic for another day. Maybe that's a future hot take. But I do love that no matter what Angel Stadium was called, it was always the Big A. It's not Edison. What's that? It's Angel Stadium. It's the Big A. Or even Anaheim Stadium for the old timers. They still call Anaheim Stadium. That's fine. I'll take that.
Well, it is Throwback Week. You can throw that in there. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So, real quick, I want to acknowledge that you are now a celebrity in the year. You were joining in the outfield with the Halo Boys. They're supposed to be coming on the podcast soon. I'm excited for that. What was it like hanging out with them? I mean, I saw, the times you guys were shown. I don't think you guys took a seat at all.
No, we sat down a bit but there were times where we would go crazy, and that's when the cameras caught us, obviously. But no, my phone has been going crazy the last 12 hours, and it's been I've been gaining followers. I just eclipsed 400 right now. Let's get to 5 by the end of the week, people. So get out there.
Follow at Angels_Cowboy, or else we will find you.
Yeah, get it out there. So the backstory of how it happened is I was planning on going to the game anyway. I felt like Wednesday was a good day. I mean, it's the middle of the week. You kind of want to get closer to that Friday feel, but Wednesday is probably the best opportunity. And I reached out to John is his name, by the way, the head Halo boy, and I said, hey, where are you guys going to sit? He said, oh, we're going to be at 340 or 240. And I said, all right, I'm looking at tickets. He says, you don't have to. I got you one. So he hooked me up, and it was an honor for him to do that. And I just linked up with them, and we sat the whole game. And I did not even get up once to go to the bathroom. Like I made sure to go to the bathroom before first pitch. I did, and I was solid for the rest of the game. And there was one time where they left, and that was the Rangers came back, took the lead, and we were kind of like, you should have never left. It's like, don't worry, we're back. We're not going anywhere. And with the Soler home run, and I was getting just a lot of messages from friends saying, yo, you're on TV. Oh, I just saw you on the Jumbotron. Da, 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 da. And I'm saying, yeah, that's me. I'm there. And I had to throw it out there and let everybody know, like, yes, this is me. And it's fun. And to get the recognition, I think I was shown 5 times is what they said. But great guys. John is a great guy. He's so energetic. He loves having fun. And I felt like I was back in college again when our baseball team, our club team, for that matter, we used to support other sports. We used to watch our rugby team. We used to watch a lacrosse team, whoever was playing soccer. And it brought back memories of when we watched our softball team, where we were like, I mean, kind of the stereotype that baseball players love watching softball. We do, because they support us just as much as we do. And we had like a section to ourselves in like a little grandstand that had in left field. It was just us, nobody else around. It was like 12 of us. And we were just going crazy for our team, our fellow classmates. And even we were playing against UCI. Even the girls on their team were like, "Hey, good play, number 12." And then some of the girls got a little bit upset, like, "Hey, who are you rooting for?" And we said, "Good softball. We just want to watch good softball play." But seeing the energy that the Halo boys had, I had basically the same thing, the same energy and flashbacks. I was just so happy to experience that whole thing, and I plan on being linking up with them again July 30th. So yeah, put in your calendar, July 30th. They will be at the stadium. I will be there. I will be sitting with them. Yes, I will wear the hat. I don't think I'm going to wear the robe. I'm going to stick with the white Angel jersey. They said wear white. So if you don't have a robe, it's fine. Just wear white. I'll stick with my white Angel jersey, but I got to keep this signature, or else I won't get recognized.
Of course. I mean, it's the brand, right? I think I saw on their Instagram that they're trying to make that a thing. It's like the 3 or 4 sections that day that they're trying to get everyone to wear white. So, we will definitely do our best to get the word out there. We'll keep plugging that. So there you go. The 30th, the day right before the trade deadline, you're going to the Angels game, wear white. There you go. But yeah, no, it did look like a lot of fun. You guys looked like you guys were having fun every time you guys were smiling from ear to ear. And that's what baseball's about, right? And, going out there, being part of the community, having fun, laughing like a goofy little kid. That's what makes sports fun, right? You get invested. So yeah, kudos to those guys because they've also gotten quite a bit of recognition. So that's got to be a good thing, right? They don't recognize nobody. So, good on them. We love the what they're doing for the community, and we look forward to talking to them in a couple of days. So today we are going to talk about the draft, which, as we mentioned, is part of the All-Star Week festivities. The draft is this Sunday. If I may, if you haven't already listened, at the end of this episode, I did just do an episode with a draft expert, Taylor Blake Ward, friend of the show, has been on several times. A, give him a follow as well on Twitter if you don't already follow him. And B, listen to that episode where he dives into various players the Angels might draft. But Vince had a take that he wanted to go ahead and share. So Vince, take it away.
All right. He's most likely been the biggest name in the draft. And I believe he could sneak into that number 2 spot, even though there are a bunch of other choices. Fernando knows for sure. But I believe Ethan Holiday, son of great Matt Holiday and brother of Jackson, will be an Angel come this Sunday. Now, I know it's a hot take because some people are probably out there thinking, where are you going to put him? First off, he's a shortstop. And Jackson was a shortstop too before he converted to second base. Obvious reasons. Of course, you're going to pick Gunnar Henderson over Jackson Holiday as a shortstop. And a lot of history shows that a lot of draft picks are either shortstops or center fielders. And when you're a center fielder, they convert to corner outfield because they are the most athletic players. They can play anywhere. Same thing with shortstops. They can play anywhere as well. So the hard part to consider is, you draft Ethan Holiday. Let's just say we do. And I think there's a chance, even though his draft stock has been dropping lately, he's gone down to 4 according to the mock draft. And the blemish, like I said, the blemish is where you're going to put him, because you already have Christian Moore, who's probably set in stone as our future second baseman and our franchise second baseman for the next 5 to 7 years. And then you got Zach Neto, who is also cemented as our shortstop, as our franchise shortstop for the same amount of years, hopefully longer. We'll find out. You do have a hole at third base, however. Now there's the argument of, what about Christian Moore? We had this talk last month. What if Christian Moore goes to third? So you have room for Kyron Paris to go over to second base. Now you're kind of playing the whole, who's the odd man out? And that's the tough part about baseball, is that you have a lot of odd men out and you have those holes, but who's going to fill them? And you have to basically set aside somebody that is going to be, you kind of want to do the whole military phrase of no man is left behind. And you don't want to leave Kyron Paris behind. Nobody does. And then you have the argument, well, why don't you put Kyron Paris in center field? He's not an outfielder. We've had this argument so many times. He's not an outfielder. He's a second baseman, and that's it. Christian Moore is a second baseman, possibly a third baseman. Zach Neto is a shortstop, most likely just a shortstop. There's some guys out there that just stick to one position, and that's their best thing to do. They can't move around. I believe Ethan Holiday can do that. I believe he does have the arm strength of a third baseman. We've seen it a lot, how a lot of shortstops convert to third base. Alex Rodriguez, Manny Machado are the top two names that come to mind. There's many more, obviously, but those are the top two that we know to this day. I believe Ethan Holiday would easily just say, you know what, I'll play third base if that's what it takes to play with Zach Neto and Christian Moore. Another blemish why he most likely would not get drafted at the second overall pick, again, Perry's philosophy. Is he going to get a high school kid? He hasn't done it. He doesn't do it. He gets college kids, which is why, and I can't wait for your take, why you think, Fernando, that a college athlete, a college pitcher, or anybody is most likely going to be an Angel. But as of now, I'm a set in stone right now. I think Ethan Holiday could be a future because there's so many pitchers on the board. Yes, we do need pitching, but I think we just need that one bat, that one just all-around player, five-tool player that can build a future with us. And let's add one more note. Matt Holliday is his father. What if Holiday becomes a mentor or an advisor to our organization? Now there's the argument, oh, but his kid's on the team. Yeah, but, I mean, Baltimore could have easily said, hey, come with us. But what if the Angels probably came in? Maybe Perry had to talk with him as like, look, if we draft your son, would you be willing to be an advisor? Will you be a hitting coach for us? Will you be this? Will you be that? You got to take that into consideration. I wouldn't mind having Matt Holliday in our coaching staff. Take it away, Fernando.
Yeah, so you had already kind of mentioned that as of right now, several outlets, our friend Taylor Blake Ward, MLB, have Ethan Holiday projected to go fourth overall to the Colorado Rockies. Obviously, you already mentioned Matt Holliday is his father. Matt Holliday is famously the man who did not touch home plate in the 2007 extra game against the San Diego Padres. Legend says he still hasn't touched home plate, by the way. I'm not salty about that as somebody who grew up in San Diego, by the way. But, yeah, I digress. It would be kind of cool to see him go to Colorado, right? I mean, for anybody who's our age, grew up watching Matt Holliday play on the Cardinals and the Rockies. And both of those are teams that are extremely interested in Ethan. Now, the short answer before I really head into my long-winded answer is I don't think Ethan Holiday is going to be an Angel. And the reason for that is the biggest point that you brought up. Perry Manazian wants guys that are ready to play baseball at the major league level. That's not a secret at this point. Last year, even on the episode when we had Taylor Blake Ward on, he had said, well, hey, the Angels' philosophy is going to change. When Shohei Ohtani was here, number 17, they were just trying to pump major league talent out because they were trying to get to that playoff spot, right? They wanted to win before he dipped. And what did he do? He dipped. So, Taylor Blake Ward had said, hey, I think that the Angels' philosophy is going to change. They're going to do what most teams do, draft the best available player, draft the player with the highest upside, because that's what baseball teams do. Look a couple of years ago when the Angels drafted Kyron Paris, Jordan Adams, Joe Adell, just to name a couple guys. Those were extremely athletic players early on that they were hoping they were going to develop to be major league talent, right? Joe Adell has finally started to come into his own. I'm pretty confident in saying that now, right? Last year, I was like, well, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe he just hit a bunch of home runs. But now, not only is he still hitting home runs, he's now starting to hit for average. So I think it's fair to say, you know what? Joe Adell is here, and I think he's a major leaguer. I think he's earned that respect. Okay, Kyron Paris, let's be honest. We still don't know what we're going to get out of him. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's still batting in the low 200s in the minor leagues, folks. Came off to a very, very hot start. We all got excited. He made the team out of spring training. We were all psyched. He was killing Major League pitching for the first 2 weeks of the season, and he hasn't been able to get out of that rut just yet, right? All the talk about, hey, he worked with Aaron Judge's guy. All of us say, hey, you know what? He does kind of have an Aaron Judge approach out there. Hasn't been able to fully come to fruition because, once again, he is cold. He has stayed cold. I'm not willing to pull the plug on Kyron Paris yet, but I will say I do believe his time as an Angel is on life support. Jordan Adams, I personally gave up on him a while ago. So all this to say, the Angels have drafted these guys who were the most athletic player in the past. Hasn't worked out for them. But you know what has worked out for them? Drafting guys who are Major League ready. Zach Neto, as of right now, has been the best player in his draft class. Nolan Shanuel maybe struggled a little bit last year, had some flashes of success. But this year, he has adjusted, proven that he belongs at the Major League level. Love what I'm seeing on Nolan Shanuel. Right now, our biggest concern in the foundation core of this team is Logan O'Hoppe. Obviously, he was not drafted by us. He was a trade, came over from Philadelphia, stayed in the minor leagues for a little bit, hung out in Rocket City before getting the call up, and he hasn't been down since. I'm not worried long-term for Logan O'Hoppe, but I do want to see him, once again, take the next couple steps forward like Neto and Shanuel have. So all this to say, the Angels want Major League ready talent. I don't think that's Ethan Holiday. Will Ethan Holiday be the best player of this draft class? That remains to be seen. So far from what I'm gathered, Ethan Holiday has much more power than his brother Jackson. But with that comes more swing and miss stuff. The Angels don't necessarily need power right now, right? The Angels need consistent Major League hitting. The Angels need the ability to drive guys in. Could that be Ethan one day? Yes, but he's not going to help the team in theory for what? Maybe 3 seasons? Because he is still young and developing. And the biggest reason why Ethan Holiday, in my opinion, will not be an Angel, we talked about it yesterday, and Taylor Blake Ward brought it up. He is currently projected to be one of the highest paid players because of, the bonus pool allotted. The Angels have, I think, about a little over $10 million for that second overall pick. He's projected probably about 11. So maybe because of that, the Angels are going to be priced out of that. The Rockies have that money allotted to them. The Angels do not. Excuse me. I tried very hard not to burp on air, and you guys should appreciate the fact that I didn't. But Liam Doyle seems to be the pick from what everyone's saying. MLB Network is saying it. MLB.com is saying it. Taylor Blake Ward is saying there's multiple outlets reporting that. He is a Tennessee guy. Done a lot of transferring in his time. But he is the closest thing to Major League ready. Now, if anyone didn't listen to the episode yesterday, I still suggest you do that because we talk about other guys besides Liam Doyle. But it does seem like if he gets called up this year because he got drafted by the Angels, he's not going to pitch very much, which means he's probably going to be a bullpen arm. What are we going to get out of him potentially next year out of the starting rotation? That you'll have to listen to yesterday's episode about. But that's what I've got right now. I put a lot of stuff there on the dartboard. Vince, what do you think?
Well, I do want to bounce off your theory about Doyle, okay? I'm not going to go against you. I understand your opinion, and we respect each other's opinion. Now, the reason why, I did see when you mentioned Liam Doyle, yeah, he went to Tennessee. Maybe Christian Moore also got involved. If anything, maybe I think they were teammates, if I'm not mistaken, last year. And probably, or maybe he went through the portal, but maybe Perry went down to Christian and say, "Hey, what do you think of Doyle? By the way, unbiased opinion. Yeah, he went to your college, but what do you say?" And I think maybe Moore came in and said, "Look, you should get this kid if Anderson is not available because you got to remember, Cade Anderson is also projected to be number 1. That's if Ethan Holiday doesn't go to Washington." I don't think Washington would consider Holiday because they kind of do have the bats already. They have James Wood. They have CJ Abrams. They have Dylan Cruz, who, yeah, he's injured. He's had a bad oblique injury this year. But the good thing is he's young. Everyone talks about, but young players, when they get hurt, like that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because when older players get hurt, it's a concern. You want them to get back on the field as much as possible. But when a 21-year-old has an oblique strain or oblique injury, guess what? You can tell that player, if you want, you can sit out the year because you're guaranteed to play next year if you want that rest. Dylan Cruz probably saying, no, I want to get back out there because I want to get ready for next season and whatnot and still get my reps in. So I don't think the Nats do need a bat, which is probably why they are. Cade Anderson is projected to be the number 1 pick. Do they need arms? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have Mackenzie Gore, who is most likely a ace on that staff. Who's going to be the number 2 or the number 3? That's why Cade Anderson is in the mix for it. But what if, for some reason, the Nationals decide, no, we'll take Doyle and Anderson's on the board? Do you snag Anderson or do you go with Ethan Holiday? I wouldn't be surprised if Anderson does get in the mix for the Angels because a left-handed arm is very valuable in today's game. And he's went to LSU. He just pitched in the College World Series. He just won a national championship. He has the winner mentality just as much as Christian Moore does. So that could also come into effect, but it also comes down to what are the Nationals going to do? They don't need a bat. That's why I believe they are going to stick with Anderson. Now at number 2, it's pretty much wide open, obviously. Doyle is on the mix, and then you have Seth Anderson from Corona High School. That could be nice. Not going to happen because you said it. You said it yourself, Fernando. You and I had this conversation off air. Off air. Thank you. I'm sorry. It's been a long week. Off air, we had this conversation, and high school pitchers are projects. Okay, you get a high school pitcher. You're gonna find out in about 4 to 5 years what they really are about. You get a college pitcher, you're going to find out what they are in about 1 to 3 years. Case in point, Paul Skeens. I know I've said his name a lot. Everyone talks about him, but there you go. Paul Skeens could have easily made his major league debut the year he got drafted, but the Pirates said, hold on, let him work a little bit. Plus, he just won a national championship. He needs to rest. Let him get back into the groove. Let him rest a little bit for the summer and then get back in the groove. He got in the groove. Then come spring training, he lit it up. They said, okay, not yet. Let's wait so we can control him for an extra year. Guess what? The Pirates got him, called him up at the right time. They have that extra year of control with him. There's talks about him getting traded. We'll see. We never know. But yeah, Seth Hernandez, I don't think it would be nice because he's a local kid from Corona. And also we have that connection with Dino Ebel because Dino Ebel's kid plays there. Maybe there's some help there. But no, it's just all over the place. And then if you look at the other ones, there's Eli Willis. I don't think he's going to be on the board, or I don't think we'll need him because he is a shortstop. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. I mean, I usually don't look. I do actually, but not like in the past years, not 100% look into the draft. But I think this year I'm actually pushing more into the draft, and I do want to see the future, especially what we had in the last few years after drafting Shonowell and Moore and seeing how they've come up so quick. Now I'm going to keep my eyes closed for sure this Sunday on this draft. Most I've ever been since I've gotten into baseball more religiously. But I mean, I still think it'd be nice to get Ethan Holiday. But like you said, high school kid is going to be a huge factor. I mean, the Nationals could probably just shock everybody and say, nope, we're going to take him. And the reason, and part of it is that weekend the Nationals were here. Ethan and Matt were at the game, seeing both of the teams when both teams were playing. Most likely talking to both GMs. But there was
here with Scott Boras.
Yeah. Oh, great. No, we're screwed.
Scott Boras does have a suite for anyone who doesn't know, the clubhouse suite. So,
but also too, which is probably the biggest shock wave to hit the MLB draft. is the firing of Martinez and Rizzo in the Nationals organization, because now you have an assistant GM taking over. What is the assistant GM going to do? Maybe that's what shook up the whole thing of Ethan Holiday not going to the Nationals, because maybe the assistant GM thought something else. Rizzo probably said, we want Holiday. But it couldn't come at a better time that these firings happened. So now that's, I believe, the reason why the shakeup. That firing is going to change the draft dramatically. Only time will tell. We got a few days to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing that Taylor Blake Ward had brought up yesterday that I didn't even think about. So he believes that Ethan Holiday is going to be a long-term first baseman. He claims he doesn't think that he has the arm. And Taylor Blake Ward is very, very good with scouting. He believes that Ethan doesn't have the long-term major league arm strength to be a shortstop and a third baseman. Now, follow me on this thought for a while. Obviously, we have our franchise first baseman from every indication we have in Nolan Schanuel. Washington doesn't. They currently have Nathaniel Lowe there, the former Ranger at first base. And then they've also had Josh Bell. They just brought him back, I think, for like a 1-year deal or something. So that's a team that doesn't have anybody there. Ethan Holiday could very well fit that role. Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Bell could easily kick the can around for another year or two there. They are serviceable first basemen, but Ethan Holiday does have star potential. So, I think it's much more likely that he ends up going first overall. I don't think he will. I think the projections of him going fourth are just about right. I can definitely see him being a Rocky. What I can tell you is that Todd and I are going to be live on Sunday during the draft. Vince, if you happen to be free, you are welcome to join, of course. But yeah, you can see our live reactions to that on whoever the Angels pick. We will go through the stats together. Speaking of stats, just because Liam Doyle is who people are massively projecting to be an Angel, I do want to go through his 2025 stats. Now, I did mention the thing that does concern me, he's done a lot of transferring. So in 2023, he was at Coastal Carolina. In 2024, he went to Mississippi. And in 2025, he went to Tennessee. He was 10-4 in 2025 with Tennessee. He had a 3.20 ERA in 19 games. He started 17 of those games. He did have a save, believe it or not, through 95 pitches. Gave up 10 runs. So he was able to, or 10 home runs, sorry. So he was able to give and keep the ball in the yard. 164 strikeouts is not bad either in 19 games. He does have a very violent motion. As of right now, does seem to be a one-trick pony. Needs to develop a second pitch. He has that fastball. But at the major league level, unless you're a reliever and, like a closer, like Aroldis Chapman, a fastball can only get you so far. You do need to develop a second pitch that's at least average and serviceable at the major league level. But a lot of the projections are saying that this guy's going to be a bullpen arm. That's his ceiling. But once again, pretty darn close to major league ready. The only thing that concerns me, I personally, and I am not a GM, I wish I was, that is my dream job, a Major League Baseball GM. I do not personally like drafting a pitcher in the first round. I just don't. I just think too much can go wrong. The expectations are too high. Look, Reed Detmers was drafted in 2020, right? He was the last Billy Epler year, if memory serves correctly. He was the most major league ready pick that year. I believe he was taken maybe 11th.
Yeah, 11.
And look, it took until 2025 for Reed Detmers to find his footing at the major league level. He has shown flashes of greatness, of course. I mean, the guy got a no-hitter. And that only means so much. I mean, look at Dallas Braden. He got a no-hitter, and besides that was an average to irrelevant pitcher. No disrespect to Dallas Braden. He has a no-hitter. I don't. But my point is there is a lot of guys who achieve that fate, and that is the crown jewel of their career. And besides that, unfortunately, mediocrity was the rest of their career. Hopefully that's not the case with Reed Detmers. He has finally found his footing. Unfortunately, he's a bullpen arm as of right now. I'd like to see him at some point get another shot at the rotation, because I think more Reed Detmers performing well for the team is better than him in small doses. But Sam Bachman was the same thing. He was the first pick of the 20 pitcher draft, if any of you guys remember. And what a miss that has been so far. Ben Joyce is the biggest name to come out of that. And no disrespect to Ben Joyce, he has been a great back end of the bullpen piece, but he's also had a lot of injury issues. And I think he still has the tools and the talent to be a top performer in any bullpen in Major League Baseball. But unfortunately, that remains to be seen. And for Sam Bachman, really hasn't been able to do too much at the Major League level. So all this to say, guys, you can take a guy who is super polished at the collegiate level, who is a pitcher, and they just don't pan out at the Major League level. It happens all the time. Not everyone's Paul Skeens. If the Angels do get Liam Doyle or whoever they're going to get, who is a pitcher at the number 2 overall spot, man, oh man, I hope that they are going to be a very good starting pitcher. But I just don't see that right now with this draft class. I don't think you're going to get a Paul Skeens guy who's going to move the needle, who's going to be that ace. I don't think it's coming this draft.
Yeah, I don't blame you for saying that. It's like, because the big names that have been coming around is obviously position players. I think more position players are getting more love than the pitching prospects, with the exception of course, the top 3 with Hernandez, Anderson, and Doyle. But when you have names like Holiday and the other kid I just mentioned on the who is projected to go to the Cardinals, number 5 overall. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think a lot of teams are going to go for their position players, and that's one thing that I don't blame you for saying is going for a position player in the first round, because you can build a position player. Whereas pitchers, it's like you kind of have to be ready almost in a way, because when major league teams draft pitchers, the first thing that they look into is like, okay, can we get this kid up at the level in about 1 to 2 years? Because there's the age-old saying, in any level, whether it's little league, high school, college, pros, minor leagues, what's the first thing people are looking for? We need pitching. Even when you play Sunday league ball, we need pitching. Yeah, we can put 10 guys on the field, because we have a DH and then everything else, but we need the arms. One arm isn't going to take you through a whole season. 5 arms are going to take you through a season, at least in the high school level. Sometimes, people say, well, all you need is just 3 pitchers in high school. Well, not necessarily. You get 6, you have a solid staff. And then at the college level, well, you need about probably 15 arms maybe. And then the pros, same thing. And that's why you have it down in the farm with all the players that you have developing. So I wouldn't be surprised if this draft does have a high amount of position players. Another Corona kid, Billy Carlson, who's projected to go 7th to the Marlins. That's going to, so that tells you right there on how many position players. I just right here, number 8, James Arnold, a left-handed pitcher out of Florida State, projected to go to the Blue Jays. So that's 3 pitchers. There's about 4 pitchers right there projected to go in the top 10. And yeah, it's a lot of position players for sure in the top 10. Well, kind of half and half almost. But this might be the year of the position player for sure in the first round. I do see it happening, and I think we need more of that. And a lot of teams do consider that because they can build their players, and even the college kids, they're usually ready in 2 to 3 1 to 2 seasons or 3 seasons. But you get a high school kid. Yeah, it's a project. Unless, you get a diamond in the rough, or you get a needle in a haystack, or actually, wait, hold on. to quote Dolly Parton, a diamond in a field of rhinestones. Yeah, it's not common to find one, but is Ethan Holiday the diamond? Could be, could not. But you know what? Only time will tell. We got a few days to figure that out. So Sunday, let's get it going.
Yeah, I'll go through real quick. We obviously won't dive into everyone's name, but I do want to give Taylor Blake Ward in his article a shout out. I want to real quick list who he's projecting the top 10 picks to be. Like I said, we won't break down all of them, but make sure you give his article a look. He's over at the Sporting Tribune. We did link it in yesterday's episode. He believes first overall to the Nationals is going to be Cade Anderson out of LSU, Liam Doyle, second overall to the Angels. Third, Seattle Mariners taking Iva Arquette, shortstop out of Oregon State. Fourth, Ethan Holiday with the Colorado Rockies. Fifth for the St. Louis Cardinals, Jamie Arnold, left-handed pitcher, Florida State. This was a guy you just mentioned. He thinks he's going to go 6th overall with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Billy Carlson, shortstop, Corona High School. 7th, Eli Willits, shortstop, Fort Cobb Broxton High School. A lot of high school guys projected to go in the top 10. Toronto Blue Jays, he thinks is going to take JoJo Parker, shortstop, Purvis High School. Now, the reason why I want to bring up is he thinks that Seth Hernandez out of Corona High School is going 9th to the Reds. And then finally 10th, Kason Cunningham, shortstop out of Johnson High School here in Texas. So, give that article a read. It's always fascinating to see what he has to say about these prospects. And Taylor is very respected in the community for his stuff. So make sure you give him a follow on social media, a checkout of his article as well. Speaking of follows, make sure you follow Halos in the Infield, at Halos in the Infield on all the social medias. While you're at it, follow our buddy Vince, the Angels Cowboy, at Angels_Cowboy. Does some fun stuff over there. Always doing some goofy in a fun way videos, thinking out of the box, trying to mix his brand of country with Southern California. He does a phenomenal job with that. So make sure you follow him on that. Make sure you check out our sponsors. Do you want to do that, Vince? Talk about 714 tickets?
Of course, yeah. 714 tickets, 714 tickets. Use the code HITI to get 10% off your purchase. You can use that anytime. Use it for concerts, use it for games, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, wrestling. And yeah, you can never go wrong with them. I've used them. Fernando uses them. Todd uses them. Everybody here at the Heating Network uses it. Brewheim, you mentioned HITI, of course. Halos in the Infield for some drink specials. OC Dugout, don't forget, last call for the Nolan Shonewall signing, which will be this Saturday, July 12th. And it is going to be at Carl Strauss, the same location where they had the Logan O'Hoppe signing. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but I will be there in spirit. And enjoy it. If you get an opportunity, please go. Nolan is a great guy from what I hear. And it's just a great opportunity to meet him and also bring the kids. The kids love to see the players. They were ecstatic when they saw Neto when I was there, and then they were ecstatic when they saw O'Hoppe. Really, really great opportunity. And lastly, Max Markets, Fernando.
Guys, this was so much fun to talk draft. I certainly love doing that. And it's fun to talk draft with Vince because as much as I love Todd, he doesn't always love talking draft. So, definitely love that. Like I said, check out the live show on Sunday. We hope to see you guys there. It's an exciting draft, right? The Angels haven't drafted second as long as I can remember. So it'll be fun because, guys, if Perry does this right, this could definitely put the Angels on the fast track to winning for years to come. Because when you're drafting second overall, this definitely has the ability to completely swing the organization, especially if you pair that with a good trade deadline. If you make the proper moves, you add the proper prospects, we could be talking about an organization that could be contending as early as next year for years to come. So this is going to be an exciting couple weeks. I'm sure we're going to talk All-Star game on next week's episode. I'm sure we're going to talk about the trade deadline because that's going to be the biggest thing coming out of the break. So on behalf of all of us here at Halos of the Infield, have a great weekend. We hope you had a happy and safe 4th of July as well. And we will see you guys next time. Y'all be good now. You hear?
From Anaheim down to the Texas plains, hot takes flying right now.